Tonight on A New Breed of Golf, I'm going to show you how to get that club on plane, give you a little bit of distance, and solve those combination lies. Let's do this! You're standing on the 17th tee. You have to get that ball into the fairway. What are you going to do? How are you going to do it? Well, you know what? It's time for a transformational tip presented by Morgan Franklin. So we have to learn how to hit the go-to shot. And on the PGA Tour, what we see all the time now is this kind of go-to fade. Tiger calls it a squeeze cut or a squeeze fade. How do we execute that shot so when we're standing on that tee and we're our most nervous, we get the ball in the fairway? Well, you got to pay attention to a couple of things. The first one is we got to get that ball position forward. I'm going to explain that to you in a second. The second one is we want to lower the tee height. Why? Because understanding where the center of gravity of the club is and what the center of gravity of the ball is going to help you control the ball flight. So we got to get to that, and we got to understand what's happening with our chest as we do this. So let's first talk about ball position. When we start dealing with ball position, what we have to realize is that when we're hitting a cut, we got to start this shot to the left or to the pull side. Well, the way you're going to do that is nudge that ball position more forward. And what that does for you is, and Gibbers, if you can give me a down the line shot, when I have the ball a little bit more forward, what happens to the club head now is the club head has already started its across path or to the inside part. When I put the ball back in my stance, it's going in to out. When I have it forward in the stance, it's now started to go out to in. So what we want to do is we want to nudge that ball position a little bit more forward. And when we do that, we also have to remember that we have to open up the stance. So when I get set up here, now I'm aiming down the left-hand side. And with that ball position more forward, what it's going to invite is a little bit of a cross. So when I hit that shot, what you're going to see is, and I'm not focusing on the curve, what I'm focusing on is the launch. So come on over here, and what you're going to see in this is I got a horizontal launch of 7.9 degrees to the left. So I've controlled my start line just by moving the ball position forward. Now, we talk about tee height. I want to show you this on tee height. If I take a tee and put a tee in the ground at my max height and I put a tee here at my min height, you can see there's a big difference in those two. So what I want to do is I want to take my minimum height, and I'm going to show you here in a second of the height of this when we put a club head in there. Look now, Gibbers, just get whoops, let me try that again. Let me get a close-up shot of that club head and the ball. And you can see right there when we get close up to that shot, look at how low that ball is relative to the crown or the top of the driver there. Now what that allows me to do is, as when the club is coming in, the center of gravity of the club is a little bit higher, and that's going to flight this ball out a little bit lower. So let me show you what that one's going to look like here. So my ball position is a little bit more forward. Now my tee height is lower. Watch how this is going to affect the apex of my shot. So I'm hitting that shot. Now come on up here, and what I want you to see is the apex of the shot. The apex of my shot now is 75 feet. My club face is open. I've got the ball squeezing out to the right. Now what we have to do is we've got to get this into the fairway. So I got to get my tee back. Come on up here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take all this and we're going to get this into the fairway. Now, the last thing we're going to focus on is what's going on with the chest. I'm not trying to hit this ball far. I'm trying to control it. I need to start it to the left. I need to curve it to the right, and I need it to be low. So my chest has to play a really big part of this cut. What I want to do is I want to feel like my chest is moving in front of the ball, and it's also open. When that happens, now the head of the golf club is going to be outside the line, and the toe is going to be dragging behind the heel. So when I get that shot, now this starts out to the left, and it peels back to the right. So we get set up. Ball position is going to be forward. The tee height is very, very low. Now I'm picking out my target over here. Now I'm just focusing on making sure that my chest is moving into that shot, almost sliding into the shot. it's almost feeling like it's past the ball and it's open. And what that's going to do is that's going to squeeze this ball out and let it move to the right. Now watch what happens here when we hit this shot. This is exactly what I want to see happen. First of all, I've got it in the middle of the fairway. I've got it into that red strip. Now, come on up here and let's look at what we got, because this is exactly what we want to do. This is our squeeze out shot. In fact, Greg, can you play that again? Do you have the ability to play that again? There you go. See that start out to the left? And now it's peeling right back to the target. And you can see it kicks to the right, and so we have it in the fairway. I did exactly what I wanted to do. Now let's check out the numbers. First of all, told you about apex being low. This one's at 60 feet, exactly what I want to see. And we start to pay attention to the things that that let us know that we've hit that cut exactly the way we want. The horizontal launch, 4.5 degrees to the left, so I've started it where I wanted to. My side spin, or my spin rate, my spin axis, is to the right, so I've got that going down that way. And my ball speed, while down only 149 miles an hour, the ball carries out to 230. But because it's low, it gets out to 255. And now I'm in the fairway and I've got a reasonable shot. You stand up in that position where you have to get the ball into the fairway. Distance is not the equation. Accuracy is the equation, and you need to make sure when you're trying to hit a ball accurately, you create curve. Curve is your friend. A lot of people say, run away from curve. I say, run to curve. Create the curve that you want. When you get nervous, have an intention of what you're trying to do. Learn from the very best in the world, and what the very best in the world do is they hit that little shot that's going from left to right, that little cutter. So, just go through it one more time so everybody knows. Now, I don't have the tee that I want, so I'm going to use this tee height at a standard tee, but I'm still going to be able to flight this down. Ball position is going to be a little bit forward. I make sure that that tee height is a little bit lower, and I'm taking my chest, I'm letting it get past that ball and open up. And I hit that shot, and now I peel it down the left side, and it has a little bit of a fade to it. That's what you need to pay attention to. When you've got that go-to shot, you make sure you hit that little squeeze cut. And when you do that, you will have transformed your game to where you have confidence under pressure. And those low scores, those wins, they're right around the corner. That's our transformational tip, presented by Morgan Franklin. Time for a grip tip, presented by Golf Pride. You go out to go play golf and your friends tell you, oh, you're crossing the line at the top. What does crossing the line mean, and why is it bad? Well, let's get a down the line shot here so you can understand what we're talking about. When this club goes back, if I get it on plane, the head of the golf club, unless the club shaft gets parallel to the target line, the head of the golf club is always farther from the strike line than the handle. When we cross the line, that means the head of the golf club now is over here or closer to the strike line than the grip, and it almost gives the illusion that the shaft is pointing over to the right. Now, why is that bad? Well, when we take this club back and we get across the line, in order for me to get power, I've got to get the head of the golf club to this side of the handle. And when we get that to this side of the handle, if it happens very late down here, now I have a problem and the club shaft will stand up at the strike. So when we go across like this, and now we start to come down, the head of the golf club lays down late, and now it comes in and the handle rises up. We lose our ability to rotate the body, and we freeze, and now we start to flip the club shaft. So, and this is something that I had a problem with in my game. I would take the club back inside, go across, try to get this club to lay down properly, and when I did it, I would hit this slap wipe shot that would go over to the right. And the reason why was I was changing the angle or the lie angle of the shaft of the golf club, and it would shoot things out to the right. Now, what we want to have happen in a proper golf swing, in my opinion, is we want to take the club back and we want to feel like the head of the golf club is farther away from the strike line than the handle. And when that happens, then we start to go in the opposite direction. Now I can let this club shaft lay down. And what happens is I start to be able to hit a draw. And when we start hitting a draw, we gain a little bit of distance, we gain a little bit of fun. And by the way, all your friends are having this conversation with you. How'd you learn to hit a draw? Well, say, you know, I watched that guy, and that guy kind of told me how to do it. Now, how are we going to do it? I'm not trying to sell a product, but I am trying to tell you about how to do it. This is something I got from my friend Martin Chuck. And this is from a company called Tour Striker. One of the things that you'll notice with really good players is the forearms kind of keep their distance together. It's the same all the way in the backswing and in the through swing. Something that we saw Martin Keimer do a lot of when he was on his way to winning major championships, and Justin Rose the same. He's in this drill all the time. What you're going to do is you just let this hang down right in between the forearms. You make a backswing. It's going to feel like you're pinching your elbows together, and when you pinch your elbows together, the club shaft's going to get online. I'm playing. If I take this trail elbow and I let this trail elbow go out like this, it's going to throw the shaft across. So we take this out and we let this elbow go like that, and now all of a sudden it goes across the line. Who does this? Typically baseball players do this because you're used to having the bat in this position here, a very high elbow, and that forearm plane tends to be parallel to the ground instead of perpendicular to the ground. So we take the club back, feel those elbows pinch. Now the shaft of the golf club gets on the right plane. So we go like this. And now we just make a little bit of a small, slow backswing. And there's the pinch. And that club felt like it was, the club head felt like it was really far away from the strike line. I'll do this again. Go back. Feel those elbows pinch. Good strike, and you can see I can generate pretty similar speed. After I've done that for a bit, take that off, put that down, and now I'm going to do the exact same, get the exact same feel. So I feel my trail elbow pinch my lead elbow. That's going to take that club head, lay it back there. And now I'm dragging that club in there, and I'm able to create a little bit of club head speed and good trajectory, good shot shape, shallow angle of approach. A lot of reasons why this is going to help you, and it's very consistent. Again, if the best players in the world are doing this, not a bad idea for you to give this a shot, because we know that when that trail elbow gets in the right spot and the club is in the right plane, I have a much better ability to get this club to come down into the strike from the inside. Feel that pinch. Good swing there. Very solid hit and excellent distance. So, here's what I can tell you. In order for you to be a little bit more consistent, you've got to work on getting this club on plane, not letting it go across the line at the top. And the way you're going to control it is with the trail elbow. Make sure that you feel like you're pinching that trail elbow instead of letting that elbow escape you. And when you feel that pinch, now all of a sudden it's going to put the club on the right plane, allow you to get this club from the inside. You've heard of the slot? That's how you're going to get this into the slot, by feeling that trail elbow pinch. And that's our grip tip, presented by Golf Pride. It's time for Proving It, presented by Titleist. And I tell you, the yellow ball's here, the yellow ball's here. So, what are we going to talk about? I want to talk to you about the importance of ground forces and understanding how to create more speed. Let me give you an idea of what I'm talking about. When I watch these players nowadays, I'm seeing increased club head speed. Francesco Molinari is a guy who's worked hard on building some speed into his game, and it's worked out for him, has paid huge dividends. Phil Mickelson has picked up 5 miles an hour of club head speed. And obviously we look at the strength of a Brooks Koepka. He's always had it. How do they do it? The way they use the ground. Now, let me show you what I'm talking about. This is just a standard 6-iron for me, and I'm going to make this swing without using the ground the way I want to use the ground here. So we go like this. Now that's a pretty good swing. That's normally what my 6-iron is going to produce. Come on up here and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. I'm looking at carry distance and I'm looking at ball speed. So in my carry distance right there, I'm at 176 yards. My ball speed is 118. Now, what I want to do is I want to be able to get more distance. I want to get my carry distance on my 6-iron, say into the 190s. I know you're saying 15 more yards, Michael. I'm saying 15 more yards for you. And pay attention to ball speed. How do we do this? So understanding how the body is going to create speed from the ground, you have to go back to other sports. Let's take basketball or jumping. What you have to do in order for you to be able to shoot a good jump shot is you have to create a flex down so you can spring off the ground. You're not going to be able to spring without adding to knee flex. So we start using the ground properly and pushing off the ground, we have to increase some knee flex. Well, I want you to feel like you're going to increase your knee flex in your lead knee. So we go back to a backswing. When we start the downswing, we want to sink into this lead knee, just like this. We're going to sink in there, and then as we start to rotate out, we're pushing off of that knee. And as we push off that knee, we're going to get more speed in the club and more speed in the ball, provided that we're able to strike it in the center of the club face. Now, how do we do this drill? Well, you start out like this. Get your normal grip and stance. You're going to make a backswing and you're going to pause. Now what I want you to do is I want you to now from here, I want you to sink into that lead knee. Then I want you to take this and we're going to straighten it out and rotate the hips. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3. So we go 1, 2, 3. And you're going to feel that push off the ground. Now, initially, your instinct and your eye is going to want to go to contact. And so you have to work through this drill a couple times before you start to be able to trust the fact that you're going to strike the ball and still push off. So, here we go. Turn, sink, step. Here we go again. Turn, sink, push off. That was my best one yet. Same thing again. Turn, sink, push off. That was a very good one, and I got that in the center of the club face, so my ball striking is improving. Now, you can see that's my 4th one. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get them together. I'm going to do them all together. I'm not going to separate them. I'm going to do them all together. But I'm going to take a practice swing first and then go. I'm not going to go full speed just yet. I'm just going to get used to doing this continuously. So there. Now, this is not full speed, but come over here and just see what happened. Remember I was at 118. Well, I got that to 120. Remember I was at 176? I got that to 179. So I've increased things. That wasn't my fastest, wasn't my best contact, but ball speed jumped up on that one. I got 2 miles an hour. So now remember, I want to get to, my goal is to get to 125. Well, if I can get 120 going in a partial speed, imagine what I can get if I'm going in a full speed. So, same thing again. Now I'm going to start really trying to put a little heat on this one. Let's see what we can get. That's my first one where I really tried to push off that lead leg. This is my best one yet. I really jumped on this one. And I got to tell you, you know, we hear that phrase, he really jumped on it. Well, that's what I want you to do. I want you to feel that jump. Look at these numbers. 132 miles an hour of ball speed. That is so much faster than I would normally hit a 6-iron. And look at that. That ball carried 206 yards. 206 is 30 yards farther than I normally do. Now, what am I telling you? What I'm telling you is you've got distance in there. You just have to understand how to do it. And the way you're going to understand it is through use of the lead leg properly. You get to the top of that swing. I want you to increase that knee flex. And then when you start to come down, I want you literally to push up and straighten up. And that pushing and straightening is going to fire a lot more club head speed into this, and that's going to give you more ball speed when you get it in the center of the club face, and you too will increase your distance 10, 15, maybe even 30 yards like I just did right there. Just make sure that you're employing that, and that is proving it, presented by Titleist. It's time for a FootJoy Fix. Many times you deal with uneven lies, you get combination lies. What are combination lies? Well, it's when you get a downhill lie and a side hill lie. Or in this particular situation, what we have is we have a side hill lie where the ball's above our feet, but the ground is still going away from me. Now, how do we know which way the ball should curve? How do we know what alterations to make? Well, the first thing that you have to understand is anytime you've got a lie that's going to create a hook, that is going to dominate the fade. In other words, if I have an uphill lie, which is a hook lie, that's going to dominate whatever. And if I have the ball above my feet, that's going to dominate the downhill lie. So in this situation, what I have here is I've got a ball that's above my feet. You can see this beautifully in camera one as well. I've got it above my feet, but the ground is running away from me. So my left foot is lower than my right foot. Now, how do we deal with this? Well, the first thing is we got to deal with how we're going to make a solid strike. So one of the things that we're going to do is because that ball is closer to me, closer to my chest, I'm going to grip down on this. I'm probably going to give this about, I don't know, maybe another inch or so. And I'm going to stand a little closer to this. So I get in here to hit this shot, just making this pre-swing alteration. And I hit that shot. Now, what you can see is that thing's going to jump out left. And I caught that a little bit fat. Why did I catch it fat? Well, because the ground on my right is higher than the ground on my left, I have to make an alteration. So now what I've got to do is I've got to adjust my shoulders and adjust my stance or my weight. So I get in here again, gripping down on this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little wider stance and I'm going to sit a little bit more weight into my lead leg. My knee is going to have a little bit of flex in it. And my shoulders are going to be down this way. Now let's see how we do with this. So there's a really good strike. And what you can see is that because I was trying to fight that slope a little bit, it didn't move as much to the left as we thought. Come on up here and you'll see this. So you look at all these numbers and all these numbers are really good. Look at the side spin. Well, that's only 58. That's pretty straight. So we've figured out how to get this thing to go pretty straight now. And now what we got to do is we got to deal with the aim. And when we start dealing with aim, you can see these golf balls now, as severe as that slope is, they're going to all start rolling down. So let me get that set up properly. So what I'm going to do here now is instead of fighting that slope, I'm just going to pick this thing, I'm going to aim it a little bit, allow my alteration to be what my alteration is, and I'm going to grip this just a little bit open with the club face. That's going to offset my hook or allow me to aim a little bit straighter on this. So, grip down, club face gripped a little bit open, set into that lead leg, let those shoulders get level to the ground, and now I'm going to aim this straight. And now what you're going to see is that I was able to even adjust the spin. That didn't come back. I've got to get a better shot. I want you to swing down this slope now. What I mean by that is that when the club is coming through, I want you to go from the high side. This pitch is really running at about a 45-degree angle here. If you get a down the line shot there, Gibbers, that pitch is running this way or to about 1030. I want to feel like I'm going to swing down that, and that's going to help get this to start on the line that I want, and then also not hook. Swing into that hook, and you'll fight it. And there's my straight shot. Now, did I hit it solidly enough? Did I get it into that target? Yes, I did. All right, so what do? You have to make the alterations. You have to understand which one is going to dominate, and then make your adjustments so we can hit it solidly and fight that slope a little bit. And what we're going to do this when I have this lie going at that 1030 line, which means I got a downhill lie and the ball's above my feet. I'm going to alter my ball position. I'm going to alter up my weight distribution. I'm going to alter up how I hold this club, not just with the club face being open, but also gripping down. And when I make all those alterations, the final thing that I want to do is I want to swing down that slope. And when I do that, what I'm going to get? Well, I'm going to get a straight shot just like that. And that right there is a FootJoy Fix.